The last project that I'm excited to show you is one that I just started, and it's not knitting. I know, like I said, I don't know if I can actually even say it's knitting adjacent, but it is something I used to do a lot of. Hello, my name is Michelle, and this is Michelle's Fiber Studio podcast. Today is Monday, January 5th, and this is episode number 75. It's another milestone episode, 75. Crazy, crazy, crazy. It is partly sunny. Actually, the sun is just starting to come out. It's been kind of mostly cloudy all day, but it is cold. It was a cold walk into my building today. But I am home and it is nice and warm in my house and I have my woolies on. So I'm excited to sit down and chat with you for the next little bit about my projects. I have something new to share, updates on the other works in progress, and I have a new addition to my yarn shelf. So without further ado, I believe, oh no, let me talk about what I'm wearing. Oh my gosh, I'm very much out of practice. Today I decided to wear my, when I stand up from my chair, my Bahama Advent wrap. So this is my Tunisian crocheted wrap that I made from my Fangirl Fibers 2024 Beauty and the Beast Advent. I have talked extensively about it recently, so I am not going to go over and bore you with all of the details. It made it into my top picks when I reviewed all of the projects that I did for last year, when I did my 2025 year in review, and I only just completed it at the end of November. So if you want all the details, you can go back a few episodes and you will find them. So now, without further ado, let's jump in. Well, the first project that I think I want to talk about is my imagination quilt. And I was sitting here last night and I'm like, how am I going to show this one? Like, I can talk about it and I want to update you on my progress, but because when you make the little squares, well, let me back up. So the imagination quilt is by Meema Makes. It is a crochet project and you make lots of little squares like this. The sun's gonna come in now and make this interesting, isn't it? And then you sew the little squares together into quilt blocks, in essence. And the quilt blocks are themed on Anna Green Gables. So, but when you are making them, and I am using my Advent that I got from Emma's Yarn, my 2025 Advent from Emma's Yarn, and I am following the list of order to make the squares in that follows the Advent path, only because for the most part it has you working with one color at a time. That said, you are making these squares, and even though you might like make between 8 and 12, actually a couple of the days you make 16 different squares, they get spread out over 2, 3, sometimes 4 different quilt blocks. So it's not like I can just pull out one batch of squares week over week and show you what I've accomplished in the last week. So I'm not sure how I'm going to do that. But for today, I can at least show you kind of where things are at. I just finished color 9, day 9's set of squares last night. And so I'm getting ready to work with color 10, day 10. And I know that day 10 has me doing some half square triangles. Here's day 10's color, this bright green. Oh, the lighting is bad. And it has me doing some half square triangles with day 7's color. So this is going to be an interesting little combo if I shield the sun. There we go. Not too bad. And among others. So there's actually quite a few squares I think I have to make in that one, but that is what I have coming up. I also thought I would show you, I don't know what day these were, but these are 4 of the squares that I have made from whatever day it was, but these are going to be in quilt block number 16. And then I started to sew the first quilt block together. I haven't got it all completely done. So you sew across and then you sew down, or actually, so it's probably this way is really the direction in which I did it. So I've got my horizontal seams done. I still need to do my vertical seams. And then she tells you to leave the ends hanging because then there is a crochet. You do a couple of rounds of crochet and then it's a lot easier to weave in those ends afterwards. So that, actually, I think I showed you. I showed you the back. There we go. That is the front. So I started working on that on Saturday. It actually took me a lot longer to sew these 3 seams than I would have liked. Like, I want to say it was an hour and a half because I did 2 of the seams at my mother-in-law's and I did another one when I got home, and it took a lot longer. So I was a little surprised at that. So, but I figured I would take a break from making squares and start to seam. But I am having a good time. The white is Knit Picks Bear. I didn't make a note. I need to add an N, and I don't remember. Knit Picks Stroll in the bear. It's their bear. So it would be the yarn that they sell theoretically so that somebody could dye it. But I'm using it plain. And I'm really liking the ivory contrast. And I think it's coming out really, really nice. So that is the first project. The second project I will show you is my well, Deck the Halls is the actual name of the shawl. And it is a shawl by Tabetha Hedrick. And I'm using another Emma's Yarns set of yarn, the Fa La 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 collection, to make this shawl. So I don't have a ton. Here's my stitch marker. I think I had just finished the green. So last night I pulled it back out and I added 6 more rows. You will see what has captured my attention a little bit later. But that is the progress that I have made on that one. So I'm hoping to sit down and get some more of this done this afternoon, actually. I love these colors, and I think it would be a fun winter shawl. Here's the label for the set. So, and there are a total of 10 colors. So I'm still working on the second color, and I am enjoying it very, very much. So that is that project. The third project we will pull out is my Westknits Shawl, which has also gotten some love. Oh yeah, it's not even connected at this point. Fabulous. So let's see. Last week when I podcasted, I know that I had just finished all of the ripples. So I have started on this side, here we go, the triangles that come off. And so I have 3 rows really. So I did this one, and then there's these 2, and then row 3. So I'm getting ready to start row 4. And I think they go all, if I remember correctly, they go all the way up the side here. So I think there's 6, maybe 8 rows in all of these little triangles. I am using yarn from my Hypnotic Yarns, my Yarnables subscription, and I have it all here in my handy dandy float tote, which works really, really well. It holds my yarns, and I can just plop the shawl on top. So I think this is Rest, Relax, and Recharge, if I recall. And this one is this Straighten Your Crown? Where is my list of colors? No, this was Wings of Renewal. This one I think is Straighten Your Crown. And, or no, that might have been the Rest Relax. This might be Straighten Your Crown. I don't remember. See, I don't even remember what they all are. I do know this is the macaron one. Guava cream macaron, because it looks like a guava fruit. So at any rate, I am picking away on it. Maybe tonight I can get another row of those done. I really need to sit down and create myself a plan, because I have lots of projects in lots of different states that I would like to make progress on, and if I am just kind of scatterbrainedly, that's not even a word, if I'm working on them hit or miss, I'm not making any actual forward progress, and I would like to see some forward progress, but I also don't want to just devote myself to one project. So I really should sit down and create a plan, but we'll see if that actually happens. The last knitting project that I'm going to pull out that I actually did a little bit of work on, not a lot, but a little work, is my two best friend socks. I had breakfast with a good, very dear friend of mine last week, and so I brought these socks with me, and mostly while I was waiting for her to arrive, but I got, what, is that an inch or so done on these socks? So this is yarn that I got from Little Wolf Knits. It's her Sunfish based, and it is the Two Best Friends colorway. So here it is in the full cake, like so. Beautiful, beautiful. I'm having a good time with this one. I definitely want to make myself a yarn cozy out of this yarn when I am done, because I think the colors are just super, super fun. So as I have talked about in the past, but I will remind you that I like to knit my socks on 2 circular needles. I do 56 stitches. I do 20 rounds for my cuff. When I get to my heel, I like to use the OMG short row heel and top down, right? Because I start with the cuff. So that's pretty much my standard formula. I do all of my socks pretty much that way. And I know it by heart, and I can work on it without a pattern at this point, which is really actually quite nice. So, all right, I have one more project that I'm really excited to share, although it is not knitting. All right, all set. My son got home from work, so I wasn't sure exactly when he was gonna come home, but he arrived, and dogs do it, so. Anyway, the last project that I'm excited to show you is one that I just started, and it's not knitting. I know, like I said, I don't know if I can actually even say it's knitting adjacent, but it is something I used to do a lot of. So it is counted cross stitch. And as you all know, my daughter got married this past summer, and when I asked her what she wanted as a wedding gift, she wanted me to make a cross stitch for her, and she wanted me to take one of her wedding photos and turn it into a chart and then cross stitch it. So when they came up for Christmas, we looked through all their wedding photos and we selected one to use. I will show you the picture here. This is the photo that we're using, and I put it into an app that I bought and had it converted, and I started the cross stitch project. So I started it on January 1st. I used to do lots and lots of cross stitch back. So I first learned to knit and crochet when I was a teenager, and then cross stitch, I was a teen when I started cross stitching too, and cross stitch actually became, I think, my bigger love, and through my late teens and early to mid 20s. I did a lot of cross stitching. I think the most recent cross stitch I finished, I started a project not long after 9/11, and it's of an eagle and a flag, and I think I completed that one about 10 years later, although it took a very long hiatus. So that was probably the last actual cross stitching that I've really done. But at any rate, I have started it, and here is what I have so far. So this is going to be my daughter's, this is her hair, and this is the clip that is in her hair. So I've got the stitching done. I haven't done any of the back stitching, obviously, to accentuate any of the parts, but I'm really pleased so far with how it's coming out. And I worked on this, so again, I started it on January 1st, so that's Thursday. So the last 4 days, this has really been the primary project that I've been pulling out. And I kept saying, I want to knit, but I want to cross stitch. And I know that this is going to be a long-term project. My daughter joked and said, oh, I'm so excited, but now I gotta wait 2 years for you to finish it. But secretly I'm hoping I'll finish it in about a year by Christmas of next year, because I know even though she's told me to take my time, she doesn't want me to grow to hate the project. I also know that until I finish it, I'm gonna feel guilty anytime I work on something else. So I'm hoping that I need to pace myself. It probably is gonna be one that gets a lot of attention here in the next several weeks, especially because it's new, it's exciting, and we'll see. But hopefully and that was part of my thought as I was thinking about project planning. It's, excuse me, trying to create a plan that would allow me time to work on the cross stitch, and then also still have a plan for making forward progress on my other projects. I'm not sure yet how that's going to look. I may wait a couple of weeks before actually making a full-on plan and just see how things kind of settle, especially now that I'm back at work. Where, you know, of course, the end of last week I wasn't working. So I spent like most of my day, well, not most, but a good chunks of my day for 3 days. And yesterday, actually, I got home from church. I worked on that for a solid 3 or 4 hours. So anyway, those are the projects that I'm working on. I'm excited about them all. And I think that pretty much covers it. I do have a new addition on my yarn shelf. My January Yarnables has arrived. So if you have not yet received yours, or you haven't yet opened yours, well, why you would have received it and not opened it is totally beyond me. But this is your warning. I am going to show this, so you may want to skip ahead to the next section. I don't have any other additions to my yarn shelf. Well, just briefly, I'll tell you, my boys bought me from Knit Picks the jumbo ball winder, which I have yet to play with. I haven't had a need to wind any yarn. I'm actually hoping to set up a winding station in my spare room. But we'll see. At any rate, so my Yarnables yarn. So I absolutely love this month's theme. My gosh, yes. The theme is Chaos Coordinator. And I actually have a sign in my office that's like, you know, the office nameplate signs that says Chaos Coordinator. I found a Hobby Lobby last winter and that lives in my office. So let me show you the extras first. There is this little dumpster fire pin, and it's this little light of mine. I'm gonna let it shine, right? Is that, yeah. And I love this for 2 reasons. Like, I love the dumpster fire of it, but it also is a play on the children's Christian song, if you will, and the Bible verse that talks about letting your light shine. So I love the double meaning. I don't know if that was the intention of the Yarnables creator, but I am totally taking that. So love that pin. The second item I got is this dumpster fire pin and keychain. Is that not hilarious? And then the last thing are these dumpster fire. These are actually yarn stoppers. So I think all 3 of these are going to work with me, and they're going to live in my office in some form. I'm trying to figure out where I can put that pin where it's going to actually, I'll be able to see it, but I will have the pin on my desk. These little yarn stoppers, I'm just going to find some way to display them or have them sitting around. I don't know, but I just think it's hilarious. So Chaos Coordinator, totally yes. So the yarn, are you ready? Is red and black. So fun. And there is the, I don't know if you can see it yet, the name of it. So yeah, so that is the yarn for this month. I received the notification that my December Wool & Woman fiber box has shipped. They're running a little bit behind, I think, of the holidays and things. So hopefully by next week I will have received that box and I can share what I have received in that one. Finally, I've got my day-to-day section, and this is going to be really quite brief because I don't have anything exciting to share. So I recorded, let's see, it was last Tuesday when I recorded Wednesday was New Year's Eve, and we ended up going over to my brother's house and celebrating. It was my brother and his wife and their 2 kids, and then my other brother and my mom and stepdad and my boys and my husband and I. So it was a quiet New Year's Eve. We played games together for, I don't think we left there. It was like 11:15. It was actually really quite late. We were playing games and playing games and playing games, and then we looked up, it's like, oh my gosh, no wonder I'm feeling tired. And got home, and then my boys went upstairs and were on their computers, and my husband and I were just kind of sitting and we were kind of just chilling and relaxing. Like whenever I'm out, and I kind of usually like to just be home and like just sit for a little while, which is why the tech week of my show was so challenging, because I was getting home not until almost 10 o'clock, and then I was just needing to sit and kind of decompress for 45 minutes before I could even go to bed, and then I had to get up at 5:30 the next morning. So at any rate, but it was like 11:45, and we were still sitting here like, well, I guess we're gonna make it, because our joke is that we don't typically tend to stay up for midnight, but we actually did, and we went to bed shortly thereafter, but we were up, and then the next day we just kind of hung out and relaxed, and that's really honestly pretty much it. It was a really quiet weekend. Nothing crazy or out of the ordinary, very dull. And then I went back to work today. So I wish I had more to share, but I really don't. So I'm just living my life here, and that's what it looks like. It was not too terrible of a start to the school year. The first, we're back to school. The kids did pretty good. I only had one crisis, or one set of tears, and that was only at 1:30, just as the day was winding down. So it was a pretty quiet day. I didn't pull any kids, and that was intentional. I really don't like pulling kids on the first day back from a break unless I absolutely have to. Especially after Christmas break, where it's been a couple of weeks, I like to just give them some time to settle back in and reacclimate and all of the things. So that one, pretty much, well, I heard the screaming from my office, so I went and investigated and kind of took over on that one. But other than that, it was really a fairly quiet day. So me and my 2 work besties spent some time catching up after lunch, and that was really kind of nice. We had a meeting with the administration this morning, kind of got our lay of the land, all right, and our feet back under us, and that's kind of what that Monday returning back is a slow easing in. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So I am gonna sit here now and do some knitting. I don't think I'm gonna touch the cross stitch today, or maybe tonight when we are sitting and watching TV, I'll pull it out. But for right now, I think I want to just do some knitting, make myself a cup of coffee, put my feet up, and relax. So I thank you so very much for joining me today. If you have enjoyed the podcast, please do hit the like button and subscribe so you know when I have posted something new. I will have links down below in the show notes for all of the things that I have talked about, all of my projects, link to the Yarnables website, and you can find me on Ravelry and Instagram as Knittin Michelle, KNITTIN MICHELLE. You could also send me an email at michellesfiberstudio@gmail.com. With that, I hope you have a fantastic week and happy knitting.